The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days in Austin, Texas, and the sky hung low like a burden Ethan Cole couldn't shake. He hadn't been home in 6 years. The last time he walked these streets, he was in uniform, a military investigator chasing ghosts overseas. Now he was chasing one of his own. His sister, Lily Cole, was dead. They called it an overdose, but Ethan had seen enough lifeless bodies to know the difference between addiction and murder. Her death was too clean, too scripted. At the funeral, the air reeked of lilies and lies. Friends whispered condolences they didn't mean. The police chief, Harold Dwyer, shook Ethan's hand, eyes steady but cold, the kind of handshake that hides guilt. "She was troubled, Ethan. I'm sorry it ended like this," Dwyer said. Ethan just nodded. His mind was already elsewhere, in Lily's old apartment, in the unanswered voicemails, in the last message she sent him 2 weeks before she died. "They're watching me. If something happens, check the blue box." That night, after everyone left, Ethan drove to her place. The small apartment smelled of dust and cheap perfume. He tore through drawers, boxes, photo frames, until he found it. A small blue box tucked under the floorboard, taped shut. Inside were 2 flash drives, a burner phone, and a stack of photos. The pictures showed police officers, in uniform, meeting with known traffickers. One image caught Ethan's attention: Chief Dwyer, shaking hands with a man Ethan recognized from a military intel briefing. Rico Valdez, an ex-cartel lieutenant operating in human trafficking. "Jesus, Lily, what did you get into?" he whispered. The phone buzzed suddenly. A message popped up. "Unknown number. You shouldn't have come back, soldier." He froze. Someone was watching. He moved to the window. Headlights flickered across the street. A black SUV idled under the rain. Ethan reached for his gun, the old Sig Sauer he'd kept since Iraq. The SUV sped off, tires screeching. That's when he knew. Lily hadn't died by accident. This was a message. And whoever sent it, they wanted him gone next. He copied the flash drives, packed his bag, and looked at Lily's photo on the dresser. "I'll find them, kid. Every last one." As he stepped into the rain, thunder rolled across the Texas sky. The war wasn't over. It had just changed addresses. The Texas sun broke through the storm the next morning, but Ethan Cole still felt the chill of last night's warning. He hadn't slept. The flash drives were full of encrypted data, and the burner phone was locked. But Lily's photos, they told a story of betrayal inside the Austin Police Department. Ethan sat in his truck outside a small diner on the east side, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. He was waiting for Maya Lopez, Lily's best friend, and the last person she'd called before she died. At exactly 9:03 a.m., Maya walked in, mid-20s, sharp eyes, wearing a denim jacket that didn't hide her nervousness. She spotted Ethan immediately. "Ethan Cole?" "Yeah, you must be Maya." She nodded and slid into the booth. "You shouldn't be here. They're still watching the people Lily talked to." Ethan leaned forward. "Then help me understand what she found." Maya glanced around before whispering. "She was tracking money transfers, dirty cash being laundered through police charities. She found something big, Ethan. She said she was close to proving that Chief Dwyer and others were protecting a trafficking route." Ethan's jaw tightened. "And she told you about the blue box?" "Yes," Maya said, trembling. "She told me to run if anything happened to her. I packed and left town for 2 days, but when I came back, she was gone." The waitress dropped off coffee, but neither touched it. Ethan opened his laptop and slid a photo across the table, the one showing Dwyer with Rico Valdez. "You know this man?" Maya froze. "That's Rico. He runs a warehouse outside San Antonio. Lily said it's where they keep the girls before shipping them north." Ethan's pulse quickened. Finally, a lead. He typed the address into his GPS, but before he could stand, Maya's phone buzzed. She looked down and went pale. Unknown number. "We see you, Maya. Don't talk." Ethan looked toward the window. A black pickup idled across the street, engine running. He grabbed Maya's arm. "Come with me." They exited through the back, cutting through the alley. The sound of tires screeching echoed around them. Someone was coming fast. Ethan pulled his gun, motioning her behind a dumpster. A man in a gray hoodie stepped out of the truck, holding a phone to his ear. "Yeah, they're here. The guy's armed." Ethan fired a warning shot. The man ducked, panicked, and fled. Maya was shaking. You just shot at him? Ethan holstered his weapon. He's not a cop, trust me. Back at his truck, Ethan handed Maya a burner phone. Take this, I'll handle the warehouse. You can't go alone, she said. They'll kill you. Ethan gave a grim half-smile. They already tried. As he drove toward San Antonio, the Texas plains stretched wide and silent. His thoughts were razor-sharp now. The deeper he went, the more the road became a line between justice and vengeance. At the edge of town, the warehouse loomed, corrugated metal, barbed wire fence, and 2 guards at the gate. Ethan parked far off and scoped it with binoculars. Through the lenses, he saw a chilling sight. Young women locked inside, guarded by armed men in tactical vests. Lily was right, and Ethan knew exactly where to strike next. Ethan drove north through the night. The Texas highway stretched like a scar across the desert. The GPS led him to the San Antonio warehouse, but by sunrise, the place was empty. Cleaned out, swept like nothing had ever happened. Inside, the air reeked of bleach and gasoline. Only one thing remained, a single Austin PD badge lying on the floor. It wasn't Dwyer's. The name read, Detective Tom Keller. Ethan snapped a photo, pocketed the badge, and scanned the scene. The tire marks led east toward Dallas. Someone had tipped them off. He'd been set up. By noon, Ethan parked behind a mechanic's shop on the outskirts of Dallas. Maya had sent him coordinates she'd found on Lily's encrypted files, an old motel the trafficking crew used as a drop site. He checked in under a false name, room 12, facing the lot. He laid his gun on the bed, every nerve wired. Hours passed. Then, headlights cut across the blinds. A black sedan stopped outside. Ethan watched 2 men step out, one of them Keller. The badge on the floor hadn't been a clue. It was bait. He crouched by the door, listening. Keller's voice was clear. Orders are to bring him in alive. Dwyer wants to talk. Ethan moved silently, slipped out the bathroom window, circled behind the motel. When Keller entered the room, Ethan was already at his back. He pressed the gun to Keller's neck. Where's Dwyer? Keller tensed. You don't get it, Cole. This goes higher than him. You kill me, they'll erase you before dawn. A sound. The click of a rifle safety. A red laser dot danced across Ethan's chest. Another shooter. Rooftop. Ethan dove as glass shattered, bullets ripping through the walls. He returned fire, rolled behind a car, and sprinted into the alley. Keller shouted after him, You can't stop this. It's federal. Ethan disappeared into the maze of back streets, sirens echoing. He knew now. Dwyer wasn't the top. There were federal hands in this, someone protecting the network. At a payphone, he called Maya. They knew I was coming. Someone's feeding them intel. Maya's voice shook. Then it's not just cops. Lily mentioned a name once, Senator Grant Morgan. He funds the same charities. Ethan gritted his teeth. Then Morgan's my next stop. The war was spreading. Dallas was burning behind him as he crossed the state line into Oklahoma, ready for the next piece of the puzzle. Oklahoma City, 2 days later. The skyline glowed faintly against the storm clouds. Ethan had tracked the trafficking route north, from San Antonio to Dallas, now to an abandoned trucking depot near the airport. He parked a stolen pickup across the street and watched. Every few minutes, semi-trailers pulled in and out, escorted by SUVs. The operation was alive, thriving. Inside a diner across the road, he met a contact from his military past, Special Agent Rebecca Shaw, now with the DEA. She looked older, sharper, but her tone was the same steel as always. You've stirred up a hornet's nest, Ethan. Dwyer's people filed a bolo on you. You're a fugitive in 3 states. I'm after proof, not headlines, Ethan replied. Rebecca slid a file across the table. That warehouse you hit? It was owned by a shell company, Northline Freight Logistics. Guess whose name is on the board? Senator Morgan, Ethan said. She nodded. And his chief of security is ex-military, Rico Valdez. Ethan's jaw flexed. Then we ended here. Night fell. They infiltrated the depot together, dressed in black, moving like shadows. Inside, dozens of crates labeled medical supplies were stacked to the ceiling, but one was open. Inside were handcuffs, fake passports, and small zip ties. Rebecca whispered, "Human cargo." Before they could move, A floodlight snapped on. A dozen men stormed in. Rico Valdez himself stepped out of the shadows smirking. "Didn't think I'd see you again, soldier." Ethan aimed his pistol. "You killed my sister." Rico chuckled. "No, I just cleaned up her mess. Orders came from higher up." Gunfire erupted. Ethan dropped behind a crate, returning shot for shot. Rebecca hit the power switch, plunging the depot into darkness. Minutes later, Ethan tackled Rico, slamming him into the concrete. "Who gave the order?" Rico spat blood. "Morgan. Always Morgan." Ethan pulled the trigger. Rico went still, but sirens wailed. Reinforcements coming. Rebecca grabbed his arm. "We have to go. Now." They fled into the night as the depot exploded behind them. Flames painted the sky. Ethan didn't look back. He finally had the name he needed. They crossed into Missouri, laying low in a rundown motel outside Kansas City. The news was everywhere. Former soldier wanted in multi-state manhunt. Ethan's face was on every channel. Rebecca worked on decrypting the last drive Lily left behind. Hours later, she turned to him. "Ethan, this isn't just trafficking. It's a political funding network. Morgan's charity launders money for private security firms. Dwyer and Keller are his muscle." Ethan clenched his fists. "So Lily uncovered the whole operation?" "Yeah," Rebecca said softly, "and they killed her for it." Ethan stood, pacing. "If Morgan's the top, I'm ending this in D.C. Rebecca hesitated. "You'll never get near him. He's protected by the Secret Service." Ethan smirked. "Then I'll stop being predictable." The next morning, Rebecca arranged fake credentials. Press passes to Morgan's upcoming charity gala in St. Louis. Under the chandeliers, Ethan walked among politicians and billionaires, invisible in a tuxedo. Across the room stood Senator Grant Morgan, shaking hands, smiling for cameras. Ethan approached, holding a champagne glass. "Beautiful event, Senator." Morgan turned, polite smile fading as he recognized him. "Mr. Cole, I thought you were deceased." Ethan's voice was cold. "Not yet." Two guards moved in. Ethan smashed the glass, slicing one guard's hand, elbowed the other, and dragged Morgan into the service hallway. "Why Lily?" Ethan hissed. Morgan's mask slipped. "She was about to ruin everything. You can't stop a machine that big, Mr. Cole." Ethan pressed a flash drive into Morgan's chest. "I already did." He stepped back, triggering a small EMP device Rebecca had rigged. All cell signals in the ballroom went dead, including the press cameras. Moments later, every screen in the room flickered, displaying Lily's files, photographs, bank transfers, meeting logs, all tying Morgan to trafficking operations. Gasps filled the room. Reporters screamed questions. Morgan's empire crumbled live on air. But Ethan and Rebecca slipped away before the FBI arrived. 3 weeks later, Washington, D.C. Morgan was under federal indictment, but Dwyer and Keller were still missing. Ethan knew they wouldn't go quietly. He tracked them to a safe house outside the Capitol, a farmhouse hidden behind tall oaks. Rebecca insisted on backup, but Ethan refused. "This one's mine." Night. The farmhouse glowed faintly under the moonlight. Ethan moved in silence, cutting the power, slipping through the door. Voices echoed from the living room. Dwyer sat with a shotgun across his knees, Keller beside him, sweating. Ethan stepped into the light. "Game's over." Dwyer smirked. "You think taking down Morgan changes anything? There'll always be another." Ethan fired once. Keller dropped. Dwyer rose, aiming. Ethan shot again. The blast echoed through the fields. Silence followed. He lowered his gun, breathing hard.